My name is Ras IshaBaka. I'm a fine artist, my profession. I was born and raised in Jamaica. I got introduced to African history at tertiary institution and realized that African people had a history, because we kind of grew up with a narrative in Jamaica about Africa and myself, and was surprised in like 1976 when I went to tertiary institution and I did a course in African history, and I learned that we had a history and we had empires and those kind of things. And as a young man, that was kind of fascinating to me, because it's the first time I ever heard it. So from that time, I wanted to come to Africa. A couple of my friends did leave that same institution and come directly to Africa. My journey took me to the United States, because my parents was there, my mother was there, and she basically said, yo, if you don't come to America and go to school, I'm don't have no money sending you. I go buy a house. So that led me to America. Didn't like want to go to the place, because I grew up kind of feeling like a socialist, being a socialist, heavily into America. But I was also fascinated by African American culture. I went to America, went to school, came back to Jamaica, married my sweetheart. 20 years passed. You know, after the kids were, got to a certain age, I started saying to myself, what about this? Well, actually, I started seeing friends die. A couple of my friends died in their 40s. I said, wow, you could have a dream and die and don't reach a dream? And I said, no, I can't let that happen to me. I mean, I dreamed that I wanted to go to Africa, I have to deal with it. And I just started to focus more, travel to Jamaica less, put the money together. There were other things too. Of course, I'm a Rastafarian and I want to go to Ethiopia. So that was the first visa that I applied for. It didn't work out, the money situation did not work out. And then later on, a friend of mine traveled to Ghana. He met someone that I went to tertiary institution, that same institution. Exchanged numbers, we talked. I did the mathematics, because at that time I was like 44 years old. I did not have a pension plan. I was in the United States being an artist, paying $20,000 a year for a loft. And that artist lifestyle was, I said, boy, you don't have a pension plan and you're living like this. Find out the mathematics from your friend. I got the math. How much is a compound house? $100 a month. That alone. Because I was paying $20,000 a year for rent. I said to myself, you could buy 2 plane tickets, ship containers 2 ways, and pay 2 years rent on $20,000, the money you were paying for rent. I was out of there. I shipped my container before I could even get my airfare together. Well, actually, I had the airfare, but it was the wrong time, and it was like very expensive to travel to Ghana at the time. So I just waited until after the peak season, which was December 26. I got here December 26, 2001. Yeah, I was received by a friend, that same friend of mine. And I had no intention of going back, even though it was my first time to Africa. I had, as a Rasta man, I had said to myself, okay, you've given the West half of your lifespan. Where you go give Mother, you say you love Mother Africa, where you go give her? So when I came, it was like, that's it. But I realized that, the money situation in Africa is tricky. Like, I had intended to come here and be a teacher. But then when I look at what a teacher would make, I said, then I would never own a house and a car if I were to take a teaching job. And I needed some security at that point in my life. So I said, you know what, let me give myself this house and car thing, and then I'll deal with the teaching situation. And that took another 20 years. Okay, it was a process of going back to America, working, coming back with money. It took me, so I bought this property in 2004. I started building on it in 2006. Maybe finished 1 room downstairs in 2009. I put this roof on the second floor, 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time. So it's been a process, in the meanwhile, I'm participating in raising my children, so a lot of my resources go to that place. It does prove one thing: if you want a house and a car, you can get it in Africa. 20 years of work, you can get it. So for all those people running away and thinking that they're gonna go to America so they can have a house and car, because what else is the offer for going into the West? What else are they offering? They're offering basically a house and a car, anything of substance. So you could do it with your 2 hands, because I basically built most of this house in my 2 hands over time. and I engage others to help me. Being a teacher at heart, this house is a teaching tool. The neighbors who have seen me before there was even a taxi stand, they seen me, so they know that certain things, it can be done. You know, you could come, you could build, and it takes time, but you could accomplish whatever your dream is in Africa. That's the gist of the story. There are many other stories inside. Okay, it's wonderful being in Ghana. If you're born and raised in Jamaica, I mean, you feel like you're at home here. I mean, you even if you walk away land or someplace where far from Accra, you're going to be hearing some reggae music playing somewhere. So that alone is going to bring you there. And then the people are very friendly and very, very open. They spoil me. They speak English. Everybody who I encounter mostly speak English. They can speak a certain amount of English so we can communicate. So that isn't a problem. You need to put together about $15,000 US minimum. Really, for security, certain types like food security and housing security, you need to come with at least 20,000 minimum, okay, land with that. Now, I came here with less, but I went back and forth to build up the money to be able to buy the land, and then to build up the money to be able to raise the foundation and do the rest of the house. Understanding that people from the Caribbean have really less resources than people in Africa in many ways, and understanding that they don't have United States dollars like that, or British pounds, then I would say if a family wants to come, then the man must do the pioneering part of the journey, and you need your airfare and you need a couple thousand. You can make deals to put you in a position, because one of the things that African man still have is the land, and the land is the only thing that can multiply for you. If someone is very versed in banana farming, for instance, or coffee farming, or anything that you know you could sell container loads of, then yeah, come to Africa with very little money. Come to Africa with like $2,000-3,000 US. You can secure accommodation for a year, and you can figure it out. You know, our African brothers are welcoming and sharing. You could figure it out, and then do it like we do then when you go to America. Well, from there, we probably want to be earning some US dollars or British pound, so we use our connection. We could send a container load of rice to the US, a container load of pretty much any grain to places like our allies in the US or in London. And earn some money, earn some foreign capital that you can actually develop and send to your wife and children over a period of time. I mean, I've met families who come with the entire family. Actually, the entire family is here now, a family of 6 in this house. It's a hair-raising situation to do that, but you know, that's for the brave of heart. I hats off to that man every time, okay? And I know another brother who did it. Two brothers who came with their families. One came with 4 sons, one came with 2 daughters and his wife. One came with 4 sons. And so there are people who do it. Really, it's difficult. I would say, having lived in the United States and Jamaica, it's difficult anywhere. Should not deter you. You know, you want to come with a strategy. The strategy is to first secure your territory, like building a building or land long term, and then you secure some land by rental to establish food security. Because you could be food secure within 6 months. You could come, once you come, and corn comes in 6 months, right? 6 weeks, I think, they have corn who come. But let's say you come and you want to eat banana like you eat in Jamaica. You do want to come with enough money to rent a land. Actually, in Africa, you could find people to give you land and share the proceeds with. So you want to come with an idea that you want to give yourself food security. Bananas and plantain is going to take a year. Sweet potatoes and cassava is going to take 6 months. Yam takes about 6 months. And for people from the Caribbean especially, say, look, one African man can do 2,000 yam hills in, say, 2 days, okay? One man can do it. The soil is very different from what we have in the Caribbean. it's very productive, and it's easier to work with. So you can actually achieve your food security within a short space of time. Once you have food security, you can send for your wife and children. That would be my advice too, because I know that they don't have the $25,000 or the $20,000 or the $10,000 to actually put down. So a lot of them can access 10,000, but that's going to be a year here if you have a family. You want to be able to land here with, say, minimum if you're a single man, 3,000-4,000, so that you can secure something, and then you can establish food security from that. So and then I will also say to my Caribbean people, if you're successful in the Caribbean, you are the ones who should come. Africa offers you scaling up. In the Caribbean, you have a truckload of something, you think you have something. You have container loads. You could do container loads of rice. Okay, a small village we are there for Volta region, 6 container load of rice coming out of that place. If you're successful anything in the Caribbean and you can scale that up mentally, Africa is a place for you. Especially if you have success down there. You need to come here. High school males, they are the problem in Jamaica. When I was high school age, 18, 19. They're the problem because right now the society offers them no real outlet. Them to the 50, we should find a way to send those 200 or so thousand every year to the 50 capitals for 1 year. Jamaica government should design an investment, an exchange program. So it's not a matter of you just sending Jamaicans over. If you send 50 Jamaicans to Ghana, you want to send 50 Ghanaians to Jamaica. You want to do exchange of the young population so that they're familiar with the thing. You see what I'm saying? They will be able to carry back information and they will be able to build network. Because once you go to high school, you maybe even 2 years, right? Actually, might make more sense. But once you're in the society, you start a network. I see a great future there. Young people in the high school age, young early tertiary institutions. I kind of see my 20 years in Africa. I see Ghana as, okay, I've established a base in Ghana, but going forward, I would like to be going to a different country every year. Young men should be able to build houses. A lot of the trades that we do here, we need to scale them up, like pottery. Many things. There are many things within African societies that kind of remained old way of doing things. I have not been upgraded. I want to kind of move around and trying to upgrade some things, mostly with rural, but maybe urban areas too, because I'm a country boy and I like country African people. I like all African people, but the ones from the countries, they remind me of my grandmothers that I had in Jamaica. So I kind of want to be helpful to them, because my grandmothers are the ones who were. If I ever find myself in a position where I could make certain types of contribution, especially in regards to repatriation, and even in terms of the development of certain things in Jamaica, I might see myself going to Jamaica for some extended period of time. As for my bones, they're buried in Africa. When I said I repatriated, I returned my bone and my DNA, if possible. I haven't quite done that yet. Those still scattered over there. I got 4 children and I don't have any grandchildren yet. So, I'm actually saying to myself, so maybe this time I just get married in Africa. Because when I first came, I had 2 young children, a young wife that I was thinking were going to join me. It didn't work out. So I never really engaged myself into family. But now that those girls are grown and their mother's not here, and my other kids are grown and I don't see grandchildren. I mean, they live in America. People in industrial countries don't really want to have children, or they want to have lots of money before they have children. So they are not even talking about children. So I'm saying, I would like to leave my DNA. I'm trying to bring my DNA back, me and the rest of us. So that's my plan. If I go west, it would only to visit or to be helpful in some way. Because one of the things that is very lacking in Jamaica, coming to Africa, Africa is a school. We don't know anything about Africa. Nothing. Maybe the footballers, musicians, but we don't know for simple thing like in Jamaica, it's a post-slave society. So black people don't have no land. So those youths that are caught up in Kingston and Montego Bay and all those places with nothing, They could understand that they could come to a place, make a deal with the African man and just be free. You see what I'm saying? That opportunity is not there in the West, where you're going to go and make a deal with a man for land and he go just take produce. Off my feet here, you know, not in Accra, to go to the bush and do some farming, rent some land. The most beautiful thing to do. My message to our people over there is that you need to know a little bit more about Africa, because there are opportunities in Africa here. Because it's not in Jamaica, African society is a different society. Every African man have access to a land, mostly. You know, maybe those in the urban areas may not. If your father come from village, nowhere in the West. And the earth is the only thing that multiplies and give it to you. I mean, how are we gonna progress without our motherland?